about the same that it might be that we had allocated some significant funds. Administration expenses of 15.6 million. And this one, we had 9.9 million in the year 2021. Basically, the variance here was 5.6%, a positive variance of 56. And this is explained by the fact that our office rent, where we are located currently, there is an annual increment of 10%. As you also heard yesterday and today, we had 5 staff joining the team, and it goes hand in hand. Also, we had some governance meetings, insurance costs. That explains the 56%. The payroll costs, we had 182 million in the year 2022, and in the year 2021, we had 167 million. We had a variance of 61.7 million compared to 33 million, 33.8. A variance of 27 million, a percentage of 83%. This is as a result of 5 new hires in the course of the year. So we had a team of 5 joining the KWCA team. Total restricted expenses of 182 against 167 million, explained by the 3 items that we've seen up there: program, admin, and payroll expenses. Moving forward, now this is unrestricted expenses. These are the expenses that we are supporting or rather paid through the unrestricted grants. The areas that we have some leeway of moving the budgets in between the lines. You will realize that we have personnel costs appearing here as well as the administration. So this is basically what we were able to pay using the unrestricted grants. So in 2022, we had 2 million. And in 2021, we had 4.8. This basically staff costs as well, a negative variance of 54%. You will realize that the negative variance of 54% is as a result of what we were able to see earlier on with regards to reclassification of restricted income to restricted in the year 2022. Other administration cost of 1.8 million, and in 2021 we had 7.5, a negative variance of 76% as a result of the reclassification basically. In the year 2021, we were able to do most of the administration costs from unrestricted. However, in 2022, we were able now to shift the unrestricted to restricted. We also have depreciation, which in the year 2021 we had 1 million, and now in 2022 we had 2.7. The variance for the new team that were able to join, and also a motor vehicle. So that explains the huge variance of 149%. So on average, under unrestricted incomes or other expenses, we had a variance of 50%, explained by the 3 lines up there. In summary, the total expenses for the year, we had 189 million against 180 million in the year 2021, a positive variance of 5%. And last but not least, under this, is what we are calling the deficit or surplus for the year. And in this case, we had a surplus of 2.7 compared to 22 million that we had in the other year, in the year 2021. Now we can move on to the statement of financial position. Maybe some of us might be aware of what it used to be called balance sheet. It's now been changed to statement of financial position. So in the year 2022, motor vehicles and equipment, what we are calling PPE, we had 11.2 million. And in the year 2021, we only had 6.9 million. you will note positive variance of 61%, equivalent to 4.2 million. This is as a result of capitalization of a motor vehicle that we had expensed in the year 2021. The vehicle that we were able to expense here, when we started the CCSP program that we had with USAID in the year 2015, we were able to purchase a motor vehicle. And what happens in terms of USAID is an asset can only be capitalized by the organization after the end of the program. That's now when the decision is made as to whether the organization will be allowed to retain or otherwise. So in this particular case, in the course of the year, we got confirmation that the vehicle that we purchased through USAID now belongs to KWCA. And that's why now we were able to bring it now to non-current assets. Initially, we had it under program costs. So that's the explanation for the huge variance that we have there. The current assets, what we are calling the grants receivables. And the grants receivable generally represents outstanding balances from the donors, what we had as unpaid to us as KWCA as of 31st December. So just to let us know that the program that we are implementing, funded by USAID, it's a milestone based, and this means that we incur the cost first, we implement, then now we got reimbursed, we are reimbursed. So the reason as to why we have this huge variance is explained by that. So we got the funds in January for the activities that we did in the last quarter of the year. Okay, so receivables and prepayments, 6.6 million in 2022. And in 2021, we had 3 million, a positive variance of 120%. And this, what we are saying, receivable is mostly the funds that we advanced to our partners. In the year 2021, we had 3 sub-awardees. However, in the year 2022, we had 4 sub-awardees. And these sub-awardees, they had the money that they are not accounted for. And for us, that's what we are calling receivables. So that explains the positive variance of 120% that we had in the course of the year. The cash and cash equivalents of 27 million compared to 33 million in the course of the year, in the course of 2021. This basically represents the cash that we had in our banks as at the end of the year, representing donor advances. Yeah, so finally, our total assets, 68 million, as earlier on mentioned by our chairman in his report, compared to 45. And you will note some positive variance of 52% during the year. Yeah, we also have what we are calling the funds and liabilities. And we have what we are calling accumulated funds of 22 million. We are comparing with 19 million in 2021. And this accumulated funds is now the difference of what we were able to see in our first report, the statement of surplus. And the positive variance of 14% there represents the surplus of the 2.7 million that we had in 2022. The difference of what we are calling the revenue and the expenditure, that explains the variance. Capital reserves of 4.9 million, which we are comparing basically with just 17 million in the year 2021. The significant variance of almost 27,000%, because we are comparing a small figure of 17,000 with 4.9, is basically what we are calling deferred income. Now we are recognizing income on a donated vehicle. Yeah, so in generally or in total, we had the funds and liabilities of 427 million compared to 19 million in the year 2021. Yeah, current liabilities, unexpended grants, and probably maybe I can define what an expended grant basically is. These are the funds that we are still sort of holding in our accounts. We have not spent. It represents the donor advances. We are glad that our partners, they have trust in us and they're able to disperse the funds to us in advance. So in the year 2022, we had that at 3 million. In 2021, we have 22 million. And this is basically as a result of the 3 donors that were able to join in the year 2022. Payables, this is now what we were yet to pay as of 31st December. 7.5 million compared to 3.5 million, a whole variance of 114%, representing the outstanding supplier payments as well as the payroll liabilities. Okay, so what we have there are just the balancing figures now from what we've seen up there with regards to liabilities and assets. Thank you. Those are the 2 statements that I just wanted to take you through. And I think at this point in time, I'll request Ernest & Young to come over. Then I think from there we can now have another session for Q&A.
Habari zenu. Kwa majina naitwa Grace Ndegwa. I'm an auditor. I work for Ernst & Young, and I'm here to ratify the figures that have been presented by Raymond. We worked together for the last two months. Yes. Yeah, for the last 2 months, tuliweza kudhibitisha vitabu. So I have a short presentation on the outcome of our work. So in terms of purpose and scope of our work, sorry, this microphone is confusing me. We audited the financial statements of Kenya Wildlife Conservancies Association in accordance with IFRS for SMEs, and also in accordance with the international standards on auditing. In terms of audit outputs, we expressed an opinion on the financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2022. And also we reported to the management. We had a meeting last week to the board of directors on major issues encountered during the audit. And we also obtained management comments during the same. And also the management has a plan on how they plan to address the issues. So we also issued, I've already discussed that, on regarding matters of internal control and opportunities for improvement or efficiency in the course of our audit. In terms of other matters, I would like to communicate to KWCA leaders that in terms of fraud and illegal acts, management have represented to us that they have not identified any fraud or illegal acts, and our audit procedures concur with this assessment, confirming management assertion. In terms of going concern, as you've seen in the numbers, we are satisfied that the use of the going concern absorption is appropriate in the preparation of financial statement. Hii ni kumaanisha that KW endelea, like we won't close shop, in other words. Then in terms of accounting policies and financial reporting, we are satisfied with the quality of organization, accounting policies, and financial reporting. We assure you that KWCA reported in accordance with the international financial reporting standards. In terms of difficulties encountered during the audit, we did not have any difficult encounters with the management. They gave us the support we needed in order to have a smooth audit. In terms of disagreement, we did not have any disagreement with management. In terms of related parties, we did not identify any matters arising during the audit in connection with related parties. Related parties here mean people who have control over the entity that are reportable to you leaders. In terms of legal and regulatory compliance, we also did not identify any significant matters arising during the audit in connection with legal and regulatory non-compliance. In terms of independence, as auditors and also the auditors firm, we would like to assure you leaders that we were independent throughout our audit assignment, and we implemented that there were no risks likely to affect our independence as statutory auditors of KWCA for the financial year that ended 31st December 2022. In terms of audit opinion, we are pleased to present to you leaders that we have issued an unqualified audit opinion. What this means, it's a clean opinion, that we are comfortable with the numbers that have been presented. And they are fairly presented. If you check all the material respects, because what we normally do, we usually pick samples and we are able to see if the numbers are adequately supported. So leaders, I welcome any questions with regards to our presentation. Asanteni sana. Okay. So you're coming with questions? Okay.
I'm just coming to support you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Yes. Just maybe before we just want to appreciate the presenters in a more better organized way. Let's appreciate them. Yeah, so Raymond gave us the financial position of the organization, and then the auditor presented the findings of the audit report for the year 2022. So maybe the best way to do it is, one, to move it forward is to, if there is any clarification questions, we are happy to open the floor. After that, we are all in agreement with the presentations, then we adopt the audit report. Yeah, thank you. Karibu, you can go ahead with your question, madam.
Good morning.
You guys, you cannot.
Good morning. I appreciate the presentation, both the financial and the auditing, but it's very difficult to come up with questions. To be sincere, I've not quite understood the presentation. You can see the writing, you can see it's a very good presentation. But I think for the benefit of us who don't have that financial background, if there is time today, like it was yesterday, there was an interpretation of the presentations, like Mr. Kielo, the CEO would come, say what they have presented, and then somehow we'd understand what has been said. So this being a very sensitive issue, financial, for us, we'd be appreciative if we'd hear, tumenunua magari tano, sasa hapa pesa hii nasema hivi. Somehow, at the end of it, we'd understand this is what the audit says. Somehow, this is where we're heading to. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I must agree with you that many members may not necessarily interpret those statements the way they are presented. In layman's language, those financial statements always need like a translation of what exactly they mean. But thank you, that is noted. I just want to see whether there are any other clarification questions to the floor. I'll give maybe the team some time to clarify a few things that may be of importance to your concern. Anybody else? Yes.
Thank you. Good morning. In the surplus variance in the year 2021 and the year 2022, there is a big difference in terms of surplus variance. Thank you.
So clarification on why the big surplus variance, though it was stated, but may be important to refocus that. Any other questions? If I may not be in a position to see your hands, you can stand. Yes, please.
I just wanted to get some clarification. When the accountant shows a negative variance, is that good for the organization?
Yeah, for Raymond, a clarification whether some of the presentations that you are highlighting are negative variance. What is the interpretation of that? Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, members. I think I will probably give back to Raymond for some more clarifications. Is there anybody with a question?
Hello, good morning. I was trying to look at the variance on payroll. It's a very big variance. Maybe you can do further explanation on that.
Variance on payroll. Thank you. Noted. Karibu Raymond.
Okay, thank you so much, leaders, for the questions. Asanteni sana kwa maswali. On matters interpretation in Swahili, please allow me to say maybe I think the figures in Kiswahili inaweza kwa ngumu kidogo kusoma haya mamilioni kwa Kiswahili inaweza kwa ngumu. And what we'll do in future, I think we'll try our best in future to also have sort of more explanations in Swahili. Some, just to put it in Swahili. So, huenda hatutayapitia yote, but kukusia tu the key areas. Na hapa tuko na wale wenzetu kutoka Pwani ndio mtatusaidia na Kiswahili. Okay, on the first one slide ni mapato. Yale mapato tuliweza kuyapata mwaka uliopita kulinganisha na ule mwaka wa 2021. Tuliweza kupata milioni, ni ngumu kidogo, 191 million. Yeah, so I just wanted to mention the totals. 191 million, nafikiri hiyo tunaelewa, 191 million. Na ule mwaka nyingine ya 2021 tulipata 2 or 3 million. Yeah, so total expenses, niseme tulikuwa na 189 million. Na ule mwaka, the other year 2021 ni 180 million. Yeah, so generally, the status ama vile tuliweza kuendelea kama KWCA, tuliweza kuona kama tuliendelea sana if we compare the 2021 and 2022. Yeah, so I think we'll try maybe next time to see if we can do a Swahili fashion. Yeah, and maybe the other reason also is wakati huu tulijaribu sana kumaliza the audits kwa wakati, ndio pia tuweze kuwapatia, kwa sababu what I have presented here is just the summary of we have a whole thing of a makeup, how we are coming up with these figures that I've presented here. So tuko na zile vitu tunaita kwa financials workings, na hizo workings iko na notes. So tunaomba kama secretariat, kama mnaweza kutupea the correct email addresses, ndio tuweze sasa kuwapatia ripoti mapema, muweze kuyapitia mapema, sasa tukija bazo tunaweza kujadiliana. Okay, so moving on with regards to surplus, there is a clarification on why we have huge surplus we had a huge surplus, huge variance of a surplus. Actually, the surplus was not huge as such. When we compare the two, and the surplus basically represents, inatueleza ya kwamba tofauti ya yale mapato yenye tuliweza kupata kulinganisha na yale tuliweza kulipa. Now the difference, ndio sasa ile tunaita surplus. Explaining the negative variance, whether it's okay for the organization. Inategemea, or rather I may do it kwanza in English. The variance on whether it's positive or negative, it depends on which angle we are looking at. If we have a huge variance, negative one, on expenses, that means we were able to scale down on the expenditure on that particular line. Yeah, and so I can use an example of the program expenses, where we had 105 million compared to 123 million, a negative variance of 18 million. This basically means that we were able to do less in the year 2022 as compared to the other year. We were able to spend less in that particular line. As to whether it's good for the organization, it depends on the perspective that we are looking at. Because when you look at this particular variance of 15% on program expenses, it's because of an activity that we were not able to carry out. We had planned, but we were not able to carry out in the course of the year. Yeah, to explain a positive variance, I'll use this 56%, where we had 15.6 million in 2022 as expenditure, and in 2021 we had 9 million. It's a positive one. That means we did more. We were able to spend more in this particular line. But again, there is an explanation on why we had to go over and above the 2021 one. For instance, on this particular one, we are talking about office rent kuongezeka, the governance meetings. You will realize that we were coming from, I think now we are settled after COVID. So in 2021, we were still balancing on whether we're doing some other governance meetings or not. But now in 2022, we were open to do the meetings. So we had more meetings in 2022 compared to 2021. Yeah, so on the variance on payroll, I think we went through this. We were saying in the course of the year, we had 5 hires, and that explains the variance. The team grew in the year. Tuliweza kuongezeka. Ndio maana maneno ya payroll ilienda juu kulinganishwa na 2021. Asanteni.
Nafikiri mumeweza kupata ufafanuzi kidogo ya yale maswali, lakini Kiingereza inazidi kuonekana kulemea Kiswahili kwa mahali pakubwa. But we'll try keep improving. So, assuming members that We are okay with the financials. We wish to, okay. Is it a point of order? Ama ni swali? Sawa, karibu.
Asante. Nasema ndugu mwenyekiti na hao wenyekiti wenzangu na wanachama wote kwamba ripoti ilikuwa nzuri sana kwa sababu imeonyesha uwazi wa matumizi. Na hiyo ndio inakubalika. Hapo hakuna maswali. Lakini tukiangalia hiki chanzo cha pesa ndio pale kina mushkil. Yani kuna question mark. Umetumia neno ligumu la Kiswahili sijui. Tafsiri kiasi gani? Lakini hapo ndio kuna kizungumkuti. Yani donors wanatupatia pesa ili tutumie. Lakini maoni yangu ni hizi conservancies zote ziko hapa. Tuangalie mbinu ya hizi conservancies ziweze kujisimamia ili sasa budget iwe kwamba hatuna tishio kwamba siku ile donors watakunja mikono, tunaendelea, itakuwa tu tunaendelea mbele. Kwa sababu mnakumbuka wakati Moi aligongana na Wolfgang, mpaka Moi akasema si mnaona mimi ni mwanaume, nimeendelea bila pesa yao. So hatutaki tufike hapo. Tunataka sisi tuwe watu wa kujitegemea kutoka mashinani. Kwa hivyo tuangalie mbinu na pengine hao auditors ndio wangetusaidia kwa sababu wao wako na hiyo economic knowledge. Waseme tunaonelea mkianzisha mradi kama huu na huu na huu, baadaye mtakuza bajeti yenu. Asante.
Asante sana. Asante sana.
Kwa majina naitwa Charles Mwezinga kutoka Mbulia.
Asante.
Taita Taveta.
Thank you. Ni kweli kwamba kenye umesema ndio inafanya tusilale. Sababu hiyo ni kazi kubwa na tuko na jukumu ya kuendesha hii shirika. Tunashukuru sana wafadhili kwa mkono wao kubwa ya msaada, lakini tunajua hiyo swali iko kwa mioyo yetu, iko kwa mawazo na ni kitu ambayo tunapambana naye. Si rahisi ndio, lakini tunashughulika. Kama ulisikia statement ya chairman, we are planning to fundraise to an endowment fund that will go ahead to always continue considering core costs that are able to run KWCA. Also, taking into account that we are looking forward to possibilities of having a conservation hub for communities will help us to lessen some of operation cost. So tunaelewa sana, lakini asante kwa kuweza kuweka hiyo mazungumzo. Tutapambana naye, lakini ni ukweli. Thank you. Naomba to adopt the financial report and the audited financial statements for the year. Na naomba kwa sababu tuko nyuma ya muda kidogo tukimbie. Na ningependa kuomba Salim, unataka kupropose?
Considering that the KWCA is not doing any business, it's only depending on donor funding, the report is okay and I would like to adopt. I propose.
Thank you. Thank you, Salim. That's a technical one. But we appreciate your proposal. Can we have a seconder?
Yeah, Joseph Ocheno from Mohondo Conservancy. I second.
Thank you. Thank you. So, members, in the interest of time, I'd like us to move forward to our next item on the agenda. And I believe that is invite Joshua, our programs manager at KWCA, to come and give us a presentation on the focus of the year, that's a work plan and budget to NCC members. So Joshua, karibu sana. Where are you? Take the floor, present the work plan and the budget for the year. Asante.
Thank you, Chairman, and good morning. I say still 2 minutes to noon. My name is Joshua Yo, Programs Manager at KWCA. So I want to take us through the activities that we have planned for the year 2023. And as had been mentioned initially, this is our last year for implementing our strategic plan, and these activities are aligned to our strategy that is coming to an end. So our strategy is informed by 3 goals, and our activities are aligned to these 3 goals. So the first goal looks at our policy engagement, both at the national and at the county level, to ensure that we promote and incentivize the growth of. The goal looks at expanding area under well-governed and effectively managed conservancies that deliver benefit to communities and nature. And then the third goal looks at a strong and effective and efficient KWCA with capacity to drive the conservancy movement. In other words, activities zetu ambazo tunaenda kutekeleza mwaka huu wa 2023 utaangazia hizi vipengele 3. Ya kwanza kuhusiana na mambo ya sheria katika county na national level, kuhakikisha kwamba conservancies zimekuwa promoted, na ya pili ni kuimarisha conservancies, kuhakikisha kwamba communities zinapata manufaa na pia mazingira, na ya mwisho ni kuangalia kwamba KWCA liko na uwezo wa kutekeleza na goal that looks at county and national policies. We have proposed 7 activities, and just to mention that this work plan begins from January to December of this year. So the first one is looking at, we want to streamline our advocacy initiatives to ensure that it aligns both at landscape, county, and at national level. Last year we began the process of reviewing our advocacy strategy, and we want to ensure that it's integral and inclusive to address all the emerging issues. The second activity is to strengthen community conservancies' land tenure rights. This is an ongoing process, and I'm sure we were enlightened yesterday on what we are doing. I'll not delve into it much. The third activity is advocate for an enabling conservancies provision in the review of the Wildlife Conservancy and Management Act 2023 and regulations. You are aware that we've been part of the process of reviewing this act, and the good news that this year hopefully we'll engage in ensuring that we finalize the review process. And part of this is to support conservancies and regional associations to be part of that review process. The fourth activity looks at our engagement at the county level. Last year, we developed our county engagement strategy, and within that strategy, we have interventions that will help us to strengthen partnership between regional associations and their respective counties. The fifth activity looks at our engagement at regional and international level, and we want to provide leadership and technical support to ensure that the voices and recognition of conservancies in these spaces is recognized. In this year, last year, we supported to participate in a number of forums, both regionally at APAC, Rwanda, CITES Congress in Panama, CBD conference in Canada. And this year we are looking at opportunities for this year to participate in the climate conference and the other opportunities that are coming. The sixth one is our engagement to support adaptation and mitigation of climate change by the regional associations, but also KWCA. In last year, we developed our climate change strategy and supported additionally other regional associations to develop their strategies, and we are looking forward this year to support the implementation. And then finally, under this goal is to promote development and access of incentives that encourage wildlife conservation and management. And here we are looking at addressing the issues of sustainability for conservancies to continue operating. So in terms of the budget for this particular goal, we have budgeted for 41,892,000. In terms of goal number 2, where we are looking at expanding area under well-governed and effective in nature, the first activity is strengthening institutional capacity of regional associations based on their capacity needs. And this is one of our strategies of enhancing the growth of conservancies by ensuring that the respective regional associations have the requisite capacity to support the growth of conservancies. We are aware that regional associations are in different capacity levels, and our desire is to ensure that the regional associations get to maturity. So we have stepped up our fundraising effort to support the nascent and the emerging regional associations. The second activity is to gather and disseminate information and evidence to inform conservancy development and growth. And this year, we'll be launching our second report on the status of conservancies report that covers the period 2017 to 2022. And that will be one of the reports to showcase the impact and the strides we've made in the conservation movement in Kenya. The third activity looks at enhancing conservancies collaboration with private sector to build sustainability of conservancies. And last year we got into partnership with the Kenya Tourism Board to support us implement our conservancy marketing strategy. And we also are in partnership with Africa Nature-Based Platform to support us with fundraising to support our conservancies. The fourth activity looks at enhancing governance and management effectiveness of conservancies. And as been said before, as we grow the number of our conservancies, we are also keen on ensuring that these conservancies are effective and there is equity and inclusion in their management. And so under this, we'll be undertaking management assessments for select conservancies as we roll out the management and governance tools, that is SAGE, in some of the conservancies. We're also looking at integrating and implementing FPIC, and I'm sure we went through that yesterday, and the adherence to human rights and inclusion of women and youth. And then the fifth activity under this goal is to promote inclusivity of women and youth in conservancy governance and management, and finally promote youth engagement in conservancy. Just to note that last year, as we come to towards the end of last year, we developed a youth engagement strategy in conservancies, and this year we are looking at implementing the provisions of that strategy. The budget for this goal is 60,449,320. And finally, the last goal, we are looking at strengthening capacity of KWCA to effectively deliver on its mandate. The first activity is building capacity of KWCA team to be more effective, efficient, to have efficient management system, and a strong organizational culture. So under this, we are looking at building the capacity of our team in terms of trainings, strengthening our performance management, and conducting our periodic reflection and learning meetings. The second activity is to maintain a functional and representative governance structure, and under this is where we support our annual general meetings and the annual leadership conferences. We also support the NCC with the activities for the year. The third activity is to grow and diversify KWCA's funding and income to sustainably cover its operations and programmatic priorities. Last year, we developed a resource mobilization strategy, and under that strategy, we are looking at supporting implementation to increase our fundraising and sustainability, but also to support our fundraising efforts. The fourth one is strengthen KWCA membership. This entails our engagement in terms of recruiting additional members, looking at retention strategies for existing members, and supporting learning among members. The fifth one is strengthen KWCA's communication capacity, and under this is where we support our publications, knowledge materials that helps us to create, to inform our different conservancies. We also intend this year to support build capacity of our regional associations in terms of communication. And then finally is on our monitoring, evaluation, and learning. And under this, we have a new monitoring, evaluation, and learning policy and action plan. And we look forward to strengthen our capacity in terms of M&D, conservancy data management, and our internal capacity as well. So under this goal, we have budgeted for 71,161,000 Kenya shillings. So that is the activities for the year 2023 that have been planned and the budget. Thank you.
So thank you, Joshua, for presenting to NCC the focus for 2023. Oh, yes. I'm happy I'm able to read what you are saying without... Sorry. So thank you, Joshua, for such a nice presentation. Why don't we appreciate Joshua in a better... Yeah, thank you very much. I think, unlike the financial figures, which are always difficult, this one was just activities listed and then a summary budget for each goal under the KWCA strategy. So I'd like to request the floor if we have any questions, clarification, If not the case, then I request that we get a proposer and a seconder so that we see whether we can move forward. Yes, is it a question? Can you stand? Can somebody try to provide with a mic?
Thank you. Thank you for that good presentation, quite short and clear. I just have one question in terms of something I didn't understand in terms of the SAGE implementation in the conservancies. I wanted to get that clear so that if I could benefit from it, I start campaigning.
Thank you. I think that's clear. Any other questions? Yes, there is a question. You can stand so that the person with the mic can see you.
I thank the presenter of the program just now. He has given us a budget, but he has not explained how is he going to finance that budget.
Thank you. How is the budget going to be financed? At the back there, my friend Letoye, I think with those three, we give Joshua room to make those clarifications.
Yeah, mine is not a question. Thank you so much, Joshua, for that presentation. As I said, mine is not a question, but it's just a comment. That's really a very good presentation. And I'll request that as KWCA and regional associations, I think it is very important for Joshua and KWCA to share this kind of program activities so that we can be able to align with also with our programs and our activities on the ground and cascade it down to the conservancies. Definitely, you know, they definitely talk a lot together with our activities as well at the ground level, but it's just very important for us to share this so that when we will be doing our activities and our programs at NRT, for example, we should be able to align them what is happening in KWCA at the national level. Thank you. So maybe sharing this slide and also sharing the work plan will work as better. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So I think I invite Joshua to just give those quick clarifications on the points of concern. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you for the questions. So the first one, in terms of SAGE, just to mention that SAGE refers to site-level assessment on governance and equity. We mentioned that we want to, as we grow number of conservancies, we also want to ensure that we strengthen their capacity. And this is one of the tools that have been developed to help us assess the capacity gaps and to come up with priorities to help address those gaps. So we piloted this tool in 2 conservancies in Amboseli and Taita, that is Lumo and Satao, Elerai. And we were able to come up with, or the community was able to come up with the priority needs, and then that informed resource mobilization. And this year we secured some small grants to be able now to implement some of those gaps to strengthen management effectiveness. So as we implement that, we also look forward to raising more resources to roll out this tool through the regional associations to support our conservancies. In terms of the budget, what we've presented, we have secured about 80% of that budget, and we are still fundraising for more money to ensure that we meet those activities, but also to support more. And just to indicate that this work plan is a living document, It is not cast that these are the only activities we will do, but depending on the emerging needs from our members and the landscapes, we'll be able to factor in and also inform our fundraising. Thank you for the need for sharing. We'll be able to share this across so that we all align in our interventions for the year. Thank you.
Asante sana Joshua kwa kutupitisha hiyo program ambayo tumeipangia. Kama vile Joshua ameeleza, fundraising efforts zetu zimehakikisha kwamba hizi activities zote zitafanyika, kwa sababu kufikia sasa tumeweza kuraise majority ya ile pesa tunahitaji. Bado tuna upungufu na tutaendelea kufanya fundraising. Ningependa tu kuchangia machache kuongeza tu yale ambayo Joshua amesema. Ya kwanza, kulikuwa na swali ya je, KWCA inafanya nini kuhakikisha kwamba ina pesa zake isipokuwa ile pesa ambayo inatoka kwa donors. Ningependa tu kukumbusha kwamba KWCA iko na foundation ambayo iko registered, na hivi majuzi tumeweza kutengeneza business plan. Iko ready tayari. Tulifanya pamoja na shirika moja ambayo inaitwa Conservation Capital, na hiyo business plan itapitishwa kwa National Conservancy Council, alafu tutaweza kuimplement, na ina mambo tofauti ambayo shirika inatarajia kufanya ili kujiongezea mapato kupitia. Moja ya hizo hapa kwa siku ya leo, lakini bado hawaja submit ile membership form na kuwa member. Na pia kuna wale ambao labda kwa sababu nyingine moja ama nyingine bado hawajalipa membership fee. Ningependa tu kuwakumbusha kwamba kama conservancy yako tunakualika ukuje kwa leaders meeting na labda hujakuwa member wa KWCA, nafikiri wale wako katika hiyo category wanajijua, tungependa uharakishe uingie usubmit hiyo membership form yetu. Pili, Sage ambayo Joshua ameeleza ni tool moja tu ambayo inaweza tumika katika effectiveness. Tumeweza kufanya assessment ya the different tools ambazo zika available, zinaweza tumika. Najua huko Laikipia wametumia SAPA, ingine inaitwa GAPA, ingine inaitwa IMET, ingine inaitwa MET. Tumesema kwamba kuanzia sasa tutaanza kufuatilia kuangalia jinsi vile hizi tools tunatumia kama Conservancy. Tuliweza kupilot, tulipata a grant, tuliweza kufanya hata training, staff wetu pia wamepitia hiyo training, na kuanzia sasa tutaendelea kupanua hiyo program ya kumesha, ya kupima ile assessment tukitumia tools tofauti. Pia ningependa tu kuwafahamisha kwa ile swali ya Letoye, ni jinsi gani KWCA na regional associations wanajaribu kuangalia ile mipangilio yao ili kuhakikisha kwamba tunafanya kazi kwa pamoja. Ningependa tu kuwakumbusha kwamba tuko na CEOs Forum. Hiyo CEOs Forum tumeweza kuwa na mkutano. Sasa hivi niko na work plan ya kila association, yale mambo ambayo wanapangia kufanya kwa mwaka huu. Tumetengeneza matrix. Kila landscape association wametueleza priorities yao kwa 2023, na sisi tumewaeleza, na tumetengeneza matrix ya kuonyesha vile kila region association inapangilia kufanya na vile KWCA inafanya. Na hiyo pendekezo ni nzuri kwamba the more KWCA na regional association tutapanga pamoja na kufanya kazi kwa moja, the better itakuwa kusaidia hizi conservancies zetu. So ningependa tukuongeza hayo. Asanteni.
Asante sana Dickson na Joshua for those clarifications. Nafikiri kwa sasa tuko vizuri na mambo ya programs, activities, work plan and budgets. Si ndio? Si ndivyo? Basi ningependa tupate proposal and seconder ndio we adopt the work plan and budget. Mzee, naweza simama tu ndio labda useme wewe ni nani, kutoka conservancy gani na una propose. Alafu kuna mwingine huko nyuma.
Mimi ni Ruben Brigen kutoka Giborit Conservancy. I propose.
Thank you. Yeah, hapo nyuma.
Good afternoon. My name is Jonah Marapash. Satao Elarai Amboseli. I second.
Thank you, Jonah. So we now have that adopted. Before maybe we go to the next item on our agenda, I just wish to recognize Madam Beatrice, who just walked in. He has been here for some time. Karibu sana, from USAID Environment Missions. Karibu. So our next item is to request our membership officer, Madam Faria, to come forward and to present to us the new list of members who wish to join the KWCA network of conservancies. So Faria, karibu. Ili uweze kupresent the list of members who wish to join. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, members and partners. As mentioned, I will be taking you through the applications we've received since our last AGM in 2022. So our current network membership stands at 174. And this year, from June 2022 to March, we have received 10 membership applications. So these applications have been vetted by the NCC board, and today we are presenting to you to be ratified at the AGM. So to start with, I will begin with Loldaiga Conservancy. Loldaiga is in Laikipia County, and it's also a member of Laikipia Conservancies Association. The conservancy is a private conservancy, and it covers 19,600 hectares. I think do we have a representative from Loldaiga? Maybe you can just stand up. Thank you, Abdi. So next we have Sericho Community Conservancy. Sericho is a community conservancy and also fairly new, established in the year 2021. The conservancy is also a member of Northern Rangeland Trust. Do we have a representative from Sericho? Yes, thank you, sir. Our next applicant was Gabratula Conservancy, also in Isiolo County. The conservancy was established in 2020. It's a community conservancy, and its acreage is 3,821. Gabratula, tuko na representative? Yes. Okay, thank you. Yes. Okay, thank you. We'll make that correction. Yeah. Okay. Next, we have Kinawad Community Conservancy, also a member of Northern Rangeland Trust. The conservancy covers 236,492 hectares. It was established in 2021, and it's also a community conservancy. Kina community, are you present? Okay, thank you. Yes, we also have another one also from Isiolo, Cherub Community Conservancy, also established in 2021. The conservancy covers 869,500 hectares, and it is a community conservancy. Cherub, do we have a representative? Yeah, thank you. Next, we'll go to Laikipia County, where we have Tumaren Ranch, also called Kirisa Walking Safaris. It is a registered member of Laikipia Conservancies Association, a private conservancy covering 1,200 hectares. Do we have a representative from Tumaren? I think we don't, so I'll proceed to the next one. We have Takaba South Community Conservancy in Mandera County. Takaba South is a registered member of NECA, Northeastern Conservancies Association. The Conservancy representative is also part of the committee officials of NECA. It covers 400,000 hectares and it is a community conservancy. I'd like to request the representative to just show themselves to the members. Thank you. Next, we have Rombo Conservancy in Kajiado County. Rombo is covering 10,117 hectares. It was established in 2019 and it's a community conservancy. It is currently being supported by Maasai Wilderness Conservation Trust and it is located in Amboseli Landscape. I believe we have a representative from the Conservancy. Okay, thank you. Next, we have Kwale in Coastal Landscape. They are being supported by Savo Trust, who are supporting in their operationalization and in the management of the Conservancy. It covers 10,233 hectares and it's a private conservancy located in Kwale County. Do we have a representative? Thank you. Finally, we have Empash Oloriento Conservancy, a member of Soralo. It covers 1,880 hectares. It was established in 2011 and it's a private conservancy. It's situated in Kajiado County. Do we have a representative? Okay, thank you. It? Okay. Yes, so that's it for the list of applicants for this year. This will, if they do get adopted, it will bring our membership network to 184 members. And they have shared their membership application forms as together with supporting documents, a letter of support and endorsement from KWS, from their regional associations, and as well as for the Community Conservancy minutes indicating that they are interested to join KWCA. So I will now hand over back to the chair to continue. Thank you.
Thank you, Faria, for presenting the list of members who are requesting the floor of the consensus leaders to consider their admission to be members of KWCA. Yes, you can stand.
I think before I say or I ask a question, can we a bit stand, maybe straight before that? Because we have sat for a long time. And I can lead you for a small exercise.
So the permission is granted.
Thank you. Can you just wake up a bit? Now we shall start from the head. We shall twist our heads like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Turn it the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sideways. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then your shoulders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The other side. 1, 3, 4, 5. Your hips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just bend a bit. Okay.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you very much. I think it was necessary, given that we've been seated for long.
Now, my question is.
Oh, you had a question?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think before I ask my question, we need to be a bit careful on registration of conservancies. Because group conservancies might break if we are not careful. And it will break this way. My question is, how many acres or hectares, what is the minimum of acres to be registered as a conservancy? Because if I have my 5 acres, can I register as a conservancy? So that is what I'm saying. We need to be careful to have the minimum number of acreage to register as a conservancy. I might have 400 acres. Now, why should I join a group of 6,000 people yet I can register alone?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Letoye.
Yeah, I just want to say, Chairman, the representative of Rombo is here.
Oh, yes. She was out when, but the representative for Rombo is there. Thank you. Any other question before we probably address the membership and the size of the conservancy issues? Yeah, our chair for Mara North Conservancy.
Thank you, Chair. I have no problem in adopting these new conservancies, but I have a specific question. Is it by mistake or part number 10 is a private conservancy, 4,800 hectares? And I'm sure because you belong to Kajiado, we need an explanation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, our former chair. Yeah, that is a scrutiny question of that big conservancy that is private. I think allow us to give feedback on those 2 areas so that we move forward.
Thank you very much for those 2 questions. On question number 1, on minimum acreage, we encourage, to the extent possible, that adjacent land units work together to become one conservancy. We wouldn't want to have a conservancy of 5 acres, 40 acres, 400 acres. If we are managing elephants and giraffe and cheetah, the larger the better. But we attempted in 2015 or thereabout to come up with a minimum acreage, and there was no consensus. I think it's only the Mara that had a recommendation of a minimum of 6,000. There was a recommendation for Amboseli for 1,000. But then we did not get a consensus on what will be a minimum. But as you can see, a lot of the areas that are proposing to be members are large enough. We have a few that we have asked that before they decide to register as a conservancy, that they need to talk to their neighbors because we want to encourage larger areas rather than smaller areas. And to also make sure that an area that is designated is a viable area. 2, on the question of that one conservancy, sometimes we get confusion in filling the forms. Some members indicate they are private because they have title, but they actually fall under a category we call group. And that's the case with Empire Sholo Rienito. There are several landowners, family, that have come together, and so perhaps we can change that to a group conservancy. But we've just captured some of the information as provided in the forms, and sometimes they come with errors, but we always go back and try and verify those errors so we have the accurate possible numbers. Kwa hivyo nimesema tu kwa ufupi, ile ekari minimum ambayo inaweza tengeneza conservancy, tulijaribu miaka 4-5 iliyopita kuangalia nini ndio inaweza kuwa minimum, lakini hatukukubaliana. Masai Mara na Amboseli kidogo walikaribia, lakini kwa national hatukukaribiana. Lakini kama principle tunasema kama ardhi inachunga wanyama ambao wanahitaji eneo kubwa kutembea, tunahimiza wale wote wakuje pamoja watengeneze conservancy ambayo ni kubwa, na ndiposa sababu unaona kwa ile members yetu wengi sasa hivi ni conservancy kubwa. Lakini saa zingine tunapata mmoja ambaye anasema yeye anachunga. Tunayo conservancy ya 95 acres imekaa kati ya eneo ambazo land uses zingine ziko, lakini ina wanyama pori. Kwa hivyo wale ambao neighbors wake hawezi shirikiana na yeye, pia tungependa kuwafungia nje. Lakini kama principle tungependa conservancies ziwe kubwa, kwa sababu kwa sustainability itakuwa rahisi. Na pia nikataja kwamba kwa hiyo conservancy saa zingine kwa kati na form inajazwa, saa zingine tunaona kwamba kuna error kwa sababu ya saa zingine kutoelewa tofauti ya group na private conservancy. Conservancy kama hiyo ya Empash ni several landowners na representative wako hapa, wamekuja together, ni familia na kila mmoja ako na shamba yake, lakini wanailete pamoja kama conservancy moja. Asante.
Asante sana Dickson. Ningeomba members hiyo discussion ya size ya conservancy tuiache kwa sasa, kwa sababu ni ngumu kuafikiana, lakini mikutano zilizotangulia silijaribu na hatukufaulu sana, lakini tutazidi kupembelezana, kuongeleshana mpaka tupate suluhu ya conservancy inafaa kuwa na ekari kiasi gani. So thank you Dickson for the feedback. I wish to bring to the floor that tupate a proposal and seconder for the admission of the new members to be part of the KWCA family. Simama useme wewe ni nani, umetoka wapi na una propose.
Mimi ni Charles Moisege kutoka Kambanga Ranch, Taita Taveta.
Asante sana, na una propose.
I propose hao wenzetu wajiunge na sisi.
Sawa, asante.
Okay.
Naomba kupata seconder.
Okay, Mike Lesemito, Kalama Wildlife Conservancy na second.
Thank you.
Karibu.
Thank you very much. So they are now officially the members of KWCA. So that will give us, thank you. Thank you for the appreciation. So we now want to move to the next agenda. And I want to invite our policy advocacy manager, Madam Gladys Wairigia, to bring to us areas of the need for amendments of our constitution. Karibu sana Gladys.
Thank you, Chair. So habari ya alasiri. Amjui hiyo. Good afternoon then. So I will take you through KWCA constitutional amendment proposal ambayo ilijitokeleza from the last AGM last year, ambayo ni amend a clause in the election of the office bearers. Na hii amendment iko within section 18 ama article 18 of our constitution. Na article 18 inakusia mambo ya election ya office bearers, and office bearers ni chairperson, vice chairperson, secretary na treasurer. And the proposal that is coming to the floor of the AGM ni kwamba we insert a new clause ama article, sub-article 18.4 kuuliza kwamba in the election of the office bearers, at least one representative shall be elected from each of the three categories of the conservancies, that is community, private, and group. And this proposal is based on the lessons ambazo zimekuwa in the previous elections, kwamba katika election hawa office bearers hakujakuwa na proper equity ama mwongozo wa kuwa na equity, that all members are equally represented in that category. So imekuwa open that so long as you're an adult, so long as you're a conservancy member, you can be elected, you're a registered member, you're qualified, but from the practice of the previous and the lessons from the previous elections, ikaonekana kwamba ni vizuri kukuwe na at least equity katika hizi 4 office bearers positions, kukuwa na representation from the 3 categories. So the recommendation to the floor is kwamba muangalia kama inafaa, na kama inafaa ikuwe ratified ndio tuweze kuongeza kwa constitution. So in the foregoing, if there is no question around it, then we will ask for a proposer and a seconder. So the chair will go on with that process. Thank you.
Let's appreciate Gladys. Today we don't have quite a lot in terms of amendment. We've done in our last AGM quite a number.
Asante James Mokina Mboga, Chalon Conservancies, Taita Taveta County. I propose nimekubaliana na hilo jambo muhimu sana. Thank you very much for that.
Asante sana, asante sana. Tumepata mtu ambaye amejitokeza kupropose very fast. I think we like that effort.
Good afternoon. My name is Adan Denge from Garbatula Community Conservancy. I also second that idea. Thank you.
Thank you for the secondment. I think nafikiri tumependezwa wote na hiyo clause. Ikuwe kwamba the election of office bearers ikuwe na some rational process of getting the leaders. Thank you very much. For the proposals and seconders, we've now approved the amendment of the Constitution to include that clause. And I think we now are free to move to the next agenda. Our next agenda, which is the second last, is selection of auditors for the year 2023. For the last 2 years, Ernst & Young have been our auditors. We appreciate the professionalism, the efficiency in helping us to actually review and look at our books of accounts. They have been very good to us. Abdi, just kidogo tu. So that's a point of order. So, pupa na mwenyewe anakuangalia. Thank you, Abdi, for that. I think we can move on. So, I was just saying, previously, somehow technically, we've always done this in their presence. So we reviewed this with Dixon while we were seated. And, but I think it's equally in order, just so that it gives the members of the conservancies a free and fair chance to contribute on the auditor agenda. So, but I was just saying, over the last 2 years that they have audited us, we've seen good progress. We've seen efficiency with them. They have also expressed the willingness to continue maybe giving us service for another 1 year, that is 2023. So I wish to open this agenda that we, as the annual general meeting, discuss on adopting Ernst & Young to be our auditors for the year 2023. So that will be our second last agenda to have. We'll have other part of the agendas in the afternoon, but those are mainly program. But for AGM, this is the second last big agenda for us. So I open the floor for members to give reaction. If, yes, Reverend Lekada. So those people with the mics, can you kindly get closer? You can stand so that they're able to see you.
Thank you, Chair. Having these people for 2 years, and they've been doing a good job for us, I think it's wise and prudent for us to give them another extra 1 year, let them continue, so that after the next year, we discuss about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend, and I think, thank you for bringing that up. We as the NCC, we discussed this, and we saw the need to recommend for the annual general meeting to adopt. So what Reverend has just said was the feeling that NCC and the audit committee proposed to the annual general meeting to consider that for adoption. So thank you, Reverend. Any divergent opinion or concurrence opinion? Yes?
Yeah, Chair.
Salim?
I also agree with the Reverend. Since they've been doing a good job, and it's only 2 years, I also recommend that we give them the third year, at least they continue.
So can we, thank you, Salim. So can we take Reverend as proposer and seconded by Salim? Is that the feeling of the House? Thank you. So, Dixon, in our agenda, we have A or B. I don't know whether I will hand over to you or to Joyce to take us through that, just so that we conclude our agendas for the AGM. Or Dixon, I can see Joyce is not accepting that.
Aya, asanteni sana. Tumeweza kupitia agenda kama vile ilitangazwa na vile secretary wetu aliweza kuisoma, na kuna hii section inaitangwa A o B, na mara nyingi huwa tuipendi kufungua kwa sababu inaweza kuwa agenda ingine nyingi kuliko ile agenda ambayo tumeweza kupitia, lakini ili tu tusifungie jambo lolote ambayo tungeweza kuitamka ama kusema, tutatoa nafasi kidogo, tuko na dakika kidogo kabla ya lunch, alafu pale kabla ya mwisho wa mkutano wa leo tutakuwa pia na plenary. Tunataka pia kusikia kutoka kwenu jambo zingine ambazo sio agenda za AGM. Tunaweza pia, tuko na nafasi pia kuweza kuitoa baada ya presentation fupi kuhusu vile tunaendelea implement mambo ya agenda. Tuliwaeleza kwamba tuna guideline ambayo tumetengeneza, na hiyo guideline ya vile tunaweza imarisha kuweza kuwapea nafasi, tulisikia ni wanawake, kina mama, wasichana katika conservancies zetu na katika miradi zetu. Kwa hivyo tutakuwa na very interesting presentation in the afternoon. Kama ulikuwa unafikiria kwenda, tafadhali usiende. Kutakuwa na masomo mazuri very interesting, na tutawapa pia nafasi nyinyi pia mtupe maoni ya mambo ambayo tungetaka tuongeze katika hiyo handbook. Mlikuwa na draft, rather summary. Kwa hivyo kama una suggestions pia unaweza toa. Lakini kwa sasa A or B, kuna jambo lingine kuhusu our membership ambayo ungependa kutaja kwa ufupi tu, na tutachukua kama 4 tu, tutachukua mengi. Tuna moja, na usi explain mingi, kwa ufupi tu ndio tupate nafasi ya watu wengi. Asante. Lampard.
Asante sana CEO, na asante chairman for leadership ya mkutano. Yangu itakuwa fupi sana. Naitwa Lampard Parashina, natoka Soralo. Ningependa kujulisha members kwamba tumekuwa na forums ama kongamano ya youth in conservation ikiongozwa na KWCA. Madam Joyce amekuwa akishikilia kwa hiyo, na I think hizo mikutano tulikuwa tukifanya hizo forums, tumekuwa the final resolutions. I think one of it inakuwaga ni how do we get involved, ama what is the space or the place of youth katika KWCA at the national level. So nimeona leo kina mama ama venye baba moja alisema hapa, tuseme wanawake wamepresent their proposals ama resolutions ya their discussions. Ningependa kupendekeza kwamba through the leadership of the NCC muweze kufikiria how do we bring up this youth to this national level, kwa sababu nakuta tukimalizia tu ile mikutano yetu kama youth, alafu only a few of us who get the chances to be on this platform, na hata there's a danger that we are almost exiting the stage of youth. Sasa I think we will be leaving a generation behind. So my proposal is tuangalie kama uongozi, how do we bring up the youth at the national level. Thank you.
Asante sana. Hiyo ukiangalia kwa, asante sana Parashina, ukiangalia kwa program afternoon tuko na hiyo session. Kwa hivyo tutawapa nafasi tusikie hiyo mikutano iliendeshwaje na hasa ombi letu ni gani kama youth. Haya, tulikuwa na mkono pale katikati. Haya, Reverend utakuja baada ya mama.
Okay, swali langu ni kwa KCWA, mko na mpangilio gani kuhusu watu tunaita walemavu katika makijiji? Unajua wengi wako hapo na ni watu ambao wamewekwa nyuma. Ni njia gani tunaweza kuwasaidia katika community yetu?
Inclusion of people with disabilities. Hapo kwako kama Conservancy, kama Regional Association, je, tunawapata nafasi gani ya kuwapa nafasi kuparticipate na sisi? Hiyo ni swali ya kufikiria, ni swali mzuri sana. Reverend.
Asante sana CEO. Kipenda tu kuuliza kwa sababu ya hali ya kuna conservancies zingine ambayo unakupata kwamba wamelelewa na watu wengine na wanalaliwa sana. Hivyo tungeuliza KWCA waangalie conservancies, wafundishe hizo members wakapate kujisimamia, sababu napata kwamba kuna watu ambaye wanashughulika sana kwa niaba ya conservancies. Kwa hivyo conservancies ama viongozi wa conservancies hawapati nafasi na hawapati elimu ya kile kinaendelea. Asante.
Hiyo ni jambo mzuri na ni muhimu kwamba tungependa hizi conservancies ziwe zinaendeshwa na wenye ardhi na sio watu wengine. Wale wengine watakuja kama enablers, lakini kazi kufanya decisions ingekuwa vizuri iwe ni Conservancy Committee ndio inaongoza. Any other somewhere here?
Asante. National government wameanza kufanya mikutano yao kwa different regions. Je, sisi kama Conservancies tunaweza kufanya AGM kwa regionals? Kwa sababu tumekuwa Nairobi, labda mkutano mwingine wa AGM twende regional nyingine.
Regions, nafikiri regions huwa zinafanya mikutano. AGMs. Nafikiri regions huwa wanafanya AGMs. Kama kuna region haifanyi AGM, labda ni zile ambazo wako na young associations bado hazijapata na nguvu, lakini huwa tunapata reports ya AGM katika landscape. Tutakupea Tom baadaye. Hapo hivyo. Sijakuelewa. Oh, okay, venue. Okay. Anapendekeza AGM zifanywe kwa regions, na ni kitu ambayo tushawahi fikiria. Hata kwa bodi yetu tumejaribu kufanya hivyo, lakini kama management, wacha tu nikuambie sio rahisi. Lakini kama tutaendelea kufikiria vile tunaweza fanya, kwa sababu ya gharama ya kutoa watu wote kuwapeleka mahali tofauti. Kuna mahali zingine itawezekana, mahali zingine itakuwa ngumu kwa sababu ya gharama, lakini pia ni vizuri tufikirie, je, conservancies ama nyinyi regions mnaweza changia kivipi ili tuweze kwenda Savo tufanye AGM huko, tuende Amboseli tufanye AGM, lakini hiyo itahitaji contribution yenu kama conservancies na pia kama regions, kwa sababu kuna wakati tulijaribu kutengeneza budget na tukaona itakuwa gharama kiasi, lakini ni jambo nzuri la kufikiria. Asante.
Kwa majina naitwa Philip Ndura kutoka Kitale Nature Conservancy. Yangu ni kuhusu elections na constitution ya board. I think sasa election inatakana inakuwa ni kind of rotational, so that kila region inakuwa represented kwa board. Like in my case natoka Western region. Western region hatujulikani. So nilikuwa naomba maybe saa zile tunafanya maybe elections panakuwa na slot ya kila region, yani inakuwa ni rotational. Asante.
Sijui kama nimekuelewa, lakini election kwa KWCA tunafanya mara moja kwa miaka mitatu. Huwa tunapata representative moja kutoka kila region kwa wakati wa election hiyo, na wale pia viongozi wa executive committee wanachaguliwa na members. Na ijapokuwa maybe labda swali yako ni kwamba tuko na regions 12 lakini executives ni 4, tutafanyaje ili ikuwe representative? Lakini hii ni mambo ya democracy, ni mambo ya election. Kwa hivyo nafikiri comment yako ni kwamba wakati tunaenda election next time pia tufikirie regions zingine wapate hiyo representatives kwa executive committee, lakini kwa regions kila region iko na representative ambaye anakuja kwa NCC. Na kwamba tunaelewa pia Western tuko na changamoto kidogo, association yenu haijashika vizuri, na ni kitu ambayo tunafikiria na tutaendelea kushirikiana na nyinyi kutafuta vile tutafanya hiyo Western region ikuwe more active. Wa mwisho,
kwa majina mimi naitwa Adan Ndenge, mimi natoka Garbatula Community Conservancy ni Isiolo. Nilikuwa naomba kama kuna uwezekano, kwa sababu sisi tayari tunajaribu kuongea na viongozi wetu wa mashinani, elected leaders, ili waweze ku-entrench community conservancy bills in our counties, kama for example what happened in Samburu. Nauliza kama KWCA officials au NCC officials kama wanaweza kuwa na fursa ya kuweza kukaa na hawa jamii zetu, hawa viongozi wetu waweze kuhamasishwa vizuri juu ya mambo ya conservancies, ili wao watu support na sisi tuwe na ile community conservancies bills discussed and entrenched in the laws of the county government. Thank you.
Asante sana. Hiyo ni jambo nzuri. County government wanaweza support aje conservancies. Nafikiri jana tuliwaeleza kama advocacy agenda yetu ni vipi conservancies wanaweza shirikiana na kupata support kutoka county government. Tumetambua kwamba njia ya kufanya hiyo ni kuhakikisha kwanza kila association yetu iko na MOU na county government. Sasa hivi NRT wako na MOU na several county governments. Baringo County Conservancies Association wako na MOU, AT wako na MOU, MMWCA wako na MOU, na tumekuwa na discussion kwa Laikipia na pia kwa other regions. Tungependa kila regional association isign MOU kama njia ya kufungua mlango ya county government. Pili ni kutengeneza hiyo county bills. Baringo Samburu na Baringo wametuonyesha njia. Baringo wako mbele, Samburu wako mbele, Baringo walitutangulia, na pia kuna drafts kwa county government ya Kajiado na pia Narok kujaribu kutengeneza hiyo county bills. Na kupitia ile MOU tunataka kuandikia na Council of Governors kupitia partner wetu ILEG. Tayari tuko na draft. Ilikuwa tayari kwa kabla ya election. Tunangojea constitution, tunangojea wale viongozi wa settle in kwa county government through the Council of Governors. Tuko na environment committee, tuko na chairpersons wa the 3 committees, chairperson wa environment, chairperson wa tourism na chairperson wa climate change. Tayari tumewafikiano. Jana nafikiri wengine wenu mliona Mheshimiwa Chachu Ganya alikuwa hapa. Tunaendelea kufanya discussion kuona vile tutaelimisha kaunti zetu waweze kutengeneza hiyo sera, lakini hiyo sera pia itategemea vile our regional associations will do it. KWCA tutajaribu ku create ile awareness na kuwapa hata draft ya vile hiyo bill inatakiwa itengenezwe. Nafikiri tumeshaongea na Letoye, wametuletea komiti yake, imekuja kwa ofisi yetu, wametueleza gaps na vile tunaweza boresha hizo policy. Tutatengeneza hiyo draft, lakini ili iweze kuwa signed, ningependa tu encourage our landscape association to continue engaging with the county government and doing it together so that we can unlock funding to our communities through the process of the county government. Also the CDIPs ambazo zinatengenezwa ni njia mzuri ya kupata funding from county government. Tuliona hivi majuzi regional associations wetu wali participate kwa hizo CIDPs development, na proposals kutoka Conservancies zina filter into hizo CIDP process kwa county government, na we have to be proactive. KWCA haiwezi fanya yote. Sisi kama regional associations na Conservancies tunastahili kuchangia pakubwa. Tukifunga hiyo section, ningependa kupata kumwalika Tom ambaye amekuwa KWCA chair kwa muda uliopita, CEO wa NRT, aweze kusema tu machache kama remarks. Lakini pia tuko na nafasi kubwa afternoon. Baada ya presentation fupi tutakuwa bado na nafasi kuwasikiliza. Sisi kama secretariat na pia kama council tungependa kusikia maoni yenu. Yale proposals yote ambayo mnatoa, kuna wakati tu huwa tunakaa chini kuzipitia kuona vile tunaweza implement. So karibu Tom, alafu baada ya hiyo chairman atakuja kutu break for lunch, alafu tuwe na section mzuri in the afternoon.
Asante sana Dickson. Viongozi amjambo. KWCA oye. KWCA oye. Asante. Nafikiri kusema tu ya kwamba ni furaha kubwa kuwa hapa. Sijakuwa katika hizi mikutano kwa muda, lakini ni furaha kubwa kuwa hapa. Tulipoanza tulikuwa tunatumia boardroom kidogo. Naona sasa tumeenda mbali. So it's such a pleasure, such a honor to be here. Na kusema tu kabla sijasema machache, just as a matter of background, kusema ya kwamba sababu kuu ilifanya tuanzishe hili shirika la KWCA ni kwa sababu sauti ya landowners, ya jamii, ya private landowners kwa hii nchi ambao wana host wildlife ilikuwa chini sana. We are all working in the north, we are working in the Mara, we are working in the Savo, but there was no proper structure, national outfit ambayo inaweza kutulete pamoja. Leo tunaketi hapa, tunasikia viongozi kutoka Tana River, tunasikia kutoka Kilifi, tunasikia kutoka Garissa wakizungumza, ni furaha kubwa. So safari ilikuwa imeanza kwa sababu ya hiyo lack of voice ya landowners. Basically ilikuwa imefika mahali, ilikuwa Kenya Wildlife Service yetu na big conservational NGOs. That was where the voice was. The communities, the local communities, the landowners who are living with this wildlife, basically were nowhere on the table. And so, as Dixon mentioned, we went to Namibia 2010 with the DG KWS, with chairman of NRT board, Ole Kaparo, and a few of us, and TNC, just really to study the model. And when we came back, we thought it's good to structure our wildlife sector in this country. And that's why we said, hold on, we have government here, led by Kenya Wildlife Service with a mandate. We also have landowners, communities, private landowners. They also need a national outfit, and that's how KWCA came to be, to represent them. And then we said, hold on, we also have conservation NGOs. They also need their own forum, so that we can engage as equals. And that's how the Conservation Alliance of Kenya came to be today. So in terms of the wildlife sector in our country, I think we are more structured. Many countries are learning from us, where we have landowners under KWCA umbrella. We have Kenya Wildlife Service representing the government, and we have our conservation NGOs under CAK, Alliance of Kenya. That really helped us to organize the wildlife sector in the country, ensuring that we all have equal voice. And I think that's what we wanted, and I think we have achieved it in a big way. I'm so happy to see Uganda here. We're looking to see also Tanzania, East African countries, modeling around the same lines. And eventually, we'll have an East African body that will bring all the countries under the East African region, and potentially Africa. Because we must drive this model. We must take this conservation to the presidency, where at an African region of the similar KWCA CEOs from across East Africa and across Africa will be able to engage our political leadership and set the agenda for this country, and set the agenda for our regions, and set the agenda for the Africa as a continent. That is paramount. I just really want to thank Dixon. When we interviewed him, we had nothing. We just gave him a certificate of registration. That was it. No office, no anything. That was the reality then, because we had a 50,000 grant to start with. And I hugged him, I gave him the certificate, and I told him, don't let me down. That was where we started. Then there was a partner in Allen, I think Anshaw, who gave us an old Suzuki. And there was no driver. The next thing I asked Dixon, do you know how to drive in the CBD? He said, I'm not sure. I said, keep going. Use it. Where you can't use it, use border border. Dixon proceeded. The next thing, we got some funding. And I asked Dixon, do you want us to employ for you a driver? Or what do you want us to employ? He said, no, policy officer, Gladys. I said, wow. I realized he was really looking ahead. And then later on, AWF gave us a Prado, a second hand. Now, nile donation tu napewa. So life continued, we continued. We never had an office. Tukaendelea pole pole, we got an office. We started registering other structures, governance structures of the organization. And we continued. And Dixon, supported by the board, really stood firm. And we started getting some $100,000 US, like that, and here we are. But it was very clear what we wanted from KWCA. We want them to be the representative of landowners in this country hosting wildlife. Nationally, it should be KWCA. While the regional associations remain as secretariat for the conservancies. So the regional associations don't own conservancies. NRT doesn't own, MMWCA does not own any conservancy for our membership. And we try to look even at how KWS is organized in terms of conservation area, because we have to complete all the policies they have developed. They have continued to engage the national government, the county government. They have produced a lot of manuals for us. And I will really want to urge the chairperson seated here. You've seen how professionally KWCA AGM, KWCA board meetings are being run. Both manuals, policies, they are doing it for us. And so the first goes, are we together? Are we together? That's who we are. Just crash. We are. Just crash. And in the 2 terms I was elected in absentia, because one was done in the Intercontinental Hotel in Nairobi, and one was done at Manzoni. And in the field of conservation, it's about complementing each other. We are now a family of conservation. So we need to, the regions needs to complement each other. The Conservancy doesn't know boundaries. Local communities are engaged. I'm so proud how far KWCA have come with our women leaders. Mnaita wanawake, nimesikia leo. Kusema wamama ni jina ya upole, lakini tumekubali. Ya pili pia ni vijana. Tuone mambo ya vijana. Pia katika conservancy zetu, they have a very few secretariat, very few staff under Dixon, and are really able to raise the funds. And just strong gas and very transparent for every coin, for every dollar. And we must guard that space. Because the next thing people will want to know is how the corruption around conservation. And so we can't allow that. That said and done, I think Dixon, I had the CS yesterday online, talking to the fact that the public participation for the reviewed conservation, I think we need to be real. And I think we need to revisit the definition of a conservancy in the act, in the legislation. Because in this country, we got, as you know, we got 3 types of our conservancies. We got private conservancies on private land. We got grouped. You look at the definition of a conservancy in the current act. It says, it defines a conservancy as an area set aside. So basically, it portrays a protected area, and it portrays an element of exclusion, which is an old definition. So the current definition in the Wildlife Act, completely. And so I think we need to lobby. We need to make sure that the legislation being reviewed has potentially or possibly 2 or 3 definitions of a conservancy to take care of our membership. We can keep the current definition, being an isolated area for those with isolated areas. For community conservancies, these are wards in the real time on the grounds, and you cannot isolate an area. And so, call them all group ranches that have transitioned. And so when we use the word isolated, an area said that we can keep the current definition, but I think we need 2 or 3 other more. And it's allowed in law when you use the word "or," so that it can accommodate. Because I think for the communities on those lands that have not yet registered, so we need to look into the definition. Otherwise, other than that, I think we need to really put a lot of support. I just really want to challenge the Conservancy leadership that what you are seeing going on today, KWCA is holding its AGM. All of us, all conservancies, are required to undertake the same AGMs. And it's just a challenge. Look today how KWCA did their AGM. They read their financial position. They gave the chairman a statement, which I really resonate with it. And the chairman and the CEO, like a conservancy manager, also spoke. So as chairpersons and leaders, please, when you go back, look at how you could be doing could be structuring our AGMs. We must be repeatable. Same for board meetings. Same for our audits, audit reports for those who get audited and who get funds. And so I think we need to make sure that the best practices we're seeing within KWCA, we need to replicate in our conservancies and in our own spaces to be more repeatable. And anything that we want from the county government, it entirely depends on the level of engagement. And I really like, you can hear that through KWCA, we are talking with the Council of Governors so that we have an MOU. And when KWCA signs an MOU with the Council of Governors, literally, all of us have signed. You can reference that document because KWCA is a membership organization. Are we together? Yes. So let's support that. And in terms of bills, and policy reviews in this country, we've heard about climate change policy being developed in this country. We need to rally behind KWCA to make sure that our views our opinions are really entered there. I was just talking to Jackson, the chair, during tea break. I was telling him, I tell you, this movement is going to be unstoppable in this country. And what this movement will do, it will make sure that every leader in this country will respect, will support anything to do with the kind of work we do on matters to do with conservation and the environment work we are doing. But they can only respect us if they see us as a national network. Because nobody can talk now about against conservation or wildlife or KWCA when in all the 47 counties or 28 counties, it's highly reputable. So we see a lot of leadership coming from here, going forward, including government appointments, honestly, because we are going to be an entity that's going to be recognized. And I tell you, anything on this country to do with wildlife or even forestry will not happen in isolation from KWCA, because you are a force to reckon. And that's what we want. Tuko pamoja? KWCA oye. Wanawake oye. Vijana oye. Asanteni, Mungu awabariki.
Let's appreciate the former chair more better. Thank you very much, Tom, for those very insightful remarks. We are here today celebrating 10 years, actually taking into recognition the first early years of hard work, commitment, and that is what made KWCA to be the institution it is today. So thank you very much. I always remember, Tom, because I came to be a KWCA board member at the tail end of your leadership. And I remember my first board meeting when I came in, and I was a little anxious how things go. And just because the rest of the board members know each other, and I didn't know many of them, I was expecting that the chair will do that a little faster so that I'm able to interact. That didn't happen, and quite a number of agendas went down the line. So I didn't know that there is a special time to introduce a new board member. And so that time came, and Tom did it very well. And from that day, I was accepted to be an NCC member, re-elected in the Francis Ngoitoi's leadership, and here I am. So whatever I also do, I attribute that to the predecessors who did a great job in making KWCA a movement. So asanteni sana. You have our respect. So I don't want us to belabor much. I want us to go for lunch. I was given some information that this is a huge conference center that has so many different ongoing conferences, and they are very smart in closing lunch at 2. And because we don't want you guys to miss lunch, allow me to bring this meeting to an end for now, and then we break for lunch, and then we reconvene at 10 minutes past 2. 10 minutes past 2. Kindly note that as long as we attain the quorum, we will always move forward. So it will so much depend on you coming and not us not being available. Because for us, as 10 or 2, 10 past 2, then the business will start. So asanteni sana na mkuwe na chakula cha mchana iliyobarikiwa. Mungu awabariki.